I would have never imagined myself ever sitting in front of you and making a video about a punter. Like, think about it. When was the last time you ever heard any YouTuber or analyst discuss a punter? Probably never, right? Well, today is finally the day we dive into it, because there has been thousands of punters that have came and gone in the NFL, but none have successfully navigated the treacherous waters of the NFL, multiple regime changes in the NFL, and then successfully parlayed that into a podcasting career the way Pat McAfee has. Not only was he an all-pro punter, an onside kick specialist, and had the ability to lay out hits like this from time to time, but after an abrupt retirement from football at the age of 29, he went into media and quickly became one of the hottest commentators in sports. He continues to reinvent himself today and has remained one of the most talked about people in sports and sports podcasting. What's going on, guys? Mike here, and today we're going to be discussing one of the greatest punters in NFL history and one of the most savvy media personalities in all of the sports realm. Now, before we get to the content, guys, please take a moment to leave a like because it really boosts this content in the algorithm. Subscribe and turn my notifications on if you are into the NFL content, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram in the description down below. I live stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Now that we got all of that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. Growing up, Patrick Justin McAfee grew up in Plum, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. He went to Plum High School, where he was a star on the soccer field as well as the football field. A story persists from his high school days about how he came to be noticed by college scouts. During his senior year, he allegedly borrowed $100 from a friend and took the money to an illegal poker club, where he turned the $100 into $1,400. He took that money and paid his way to Miami to participate in a national competition for kickers. At the competition, he nailed 9 consecutive field goals from ever-increasing distances. He finally missed his 10th kick from 70 yards, wide right, although it had enough distance to be good. After he returned home, a recruiter from West Virginia University approached him in his school's lunchroom and offered him a scholarship. McAfee would then earn the starting place kicker job as a freshman at West Virginia in 2005. During that season, he handled both place kicking and kickoff duties. He kicked fairly well that season, hitting on 11 of 18 field goal attempts and touchbacks on 20 of 70 kickoffs. His legacy of being one of the best onside kick specialists also began his freshman year. West Virginia was able to pull off a triple overtime win against rival Louisville 46-44 thanks to a McAfee onside kick that was successfully recovered. In his sophomore year, McAfee continued place kicking and kickoffs, but also assumed the role of the team's primary punter. He had another great year, hitting on 100% of extra points and 17 of 22 field goal attempts for 77%. The team would win 10 games and emerged victorious in the Gator Bowl over Georgia Tech. His junior season started with a missed extra point in the first game of the year, snapping a streak of 109 straight converted extra point kicks. He still went on to have an excellent season, being named second team All-Big East and a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award for the nation's best kicker. McAfee's senior season was by far his best. In the first game of the season against Villanova, he was successful on a career-long 52-yard field goal. The following week against Marshall, McAfee connected on a field goal to become West Virginia's all-time leading scorer, passing a former teammate who was a wide receiver, Steve Slayton. In a mid-season game against Cincinnati, McAfee once again converted a critical onside kick late in the game and followed it up by nailing a 52-yard field goal as time expired to tie the game, although West Virginia would go on to lose in overtime. He finished his senior season perfect on extra point conversions and hitting on 17 of 20 field goals for 85%. He also punted 62 times, with a Big East leading 23 punts inside of the 20-yard line, and finished with 44.7 yards per punt average. For his career, Pat McAfee still holds many Big East kicking records. He is first in Big East history in extra points made and extra points attempted. He ranks second all all-time in the Big East in scoring and first in career yards per punt. After his senior season, McAfee was invited to play in the Senior Bowl as a place kicker for the South team. He also competed in the State Farm College Football All-Star Challenge, where he went on to win the Round the World kicking competition. Because he was not invited to the NFL Combine, McAfee held private workouts for several NFL teams, including the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. All of the workouts were as a kicker. But sure enough, after a stellar college career, McAfee would be selected by the Indianapolis Colts in the 7th round of the 2009 NFL Draft. For a kicker, just being drafted is a major accomplishment, as most kickers are signed as undrafted free agents, unless if you're Roberto Aguayo or Sebastian Janikowski. The Colts immediately began working him out as their punter and kickoff specialist, as well as the holder on extra points and field goals, a position which he had never played. 2009 was a great year to be a rookie, as McAfee was part of an Indianapolis Colts team that went all the way to Super Bowl 44. The Colts entered the game as a slight favorite, but the eventual Super Bowl MVP Drew Brees proved to be too much to handle, as the New Orleans Saints beat the Colts 31-17. McAfee and the Colts would not make it back to the Super Bowl during his short career. McAfee never got to place kick in the NFL because the Indianapolis Colts had future Hall of Famer Adam Vinatieri on the team. He also never got to score a touchdown, but that's not to say he didn't have some memorable moments on the gridiron. One of McAfee's most memorable plays came in the 2013 NFL season during a game against the Denver Broncos. On a kickoff, McAfee boots the ball deep, and Broncos return man Trindon Holliday takes the kick around the goal line. Holliday cuts left and breaks tackles, taking the ball up the sideline for a huge return. McAfee saves a touchdown by laying a huge hit on Holliday, knocking him off of his feet and sending him hurtling out of bounds. After the play, Holliday gets up and celebrates the long return, but the Colts are equally excited seeing their kicker lay someone out. It helps that Holliday was also one of the smallest players to ever step onto the NFL field, and McAfee is a large man as far as punters go. In 2014, McAfee was responsible for the only 2 successful onside kicks in the league during the first 4 weeks of the season. That, along with his league-leading yards per punt and touchbacks on kickoff, was enough to earn him Special Teams Player of the Month honors for September. Then in week 6 of 2014, he converted another onside kick, giving him 3 successful conversions while the rest of the league had none. But this one was special. Early in the game, after a stalled drive into Texans territory, Andrew Luck and the Colts offense had to settle for a Vinatieri field goal. On the ensuing kickoff, McAfee, realizing there were no Texans near the line of scrimmage, tapped a short kickoff exactly the required 10 yards, running closely behind the bouncing ball. After it had reached the 10-yard mark, he grabbed it and fell on it with no Texan tackler within 5 yards of him for a successful recovery. 2014 ended up being a great year overall for Pat McAfee. He earned his first of 2 Pro Bowl appearances and was named a first-team All-Pro. The only controversy McAfee was ever involved in, if you even want to call it that, also occurred in 2014. In a wildcard playoff game in January, the Colts engineered the second largest comeback in NFL history, overcoming a 28-point second-half deficit against the Kansas City Chiefs to pull out a win, 45-44. After the game was over, McAfee snapped a picture of Colts kicker Adam Vinatieri, who had kicked the extra point that gave the Colts the victory. The picture was of Vinatieri giving an interview to a reporter in the Colts locker room post-game. McAfee posted the photo onto his Twitter account seemingly innocently, but in the background of the picture you can clearly see a fully naked Andrew Luck. Luckily, for a well-placed set of hands holding a cell phone, you can't see Luck's backside. McAfee apologized to Luck publicly, and Andrew accepted his apology. The Colts fined McAfee $10,000 for the embarrassing tweet, but that's all that came from the incident. 2016 turned out to be the best of McAfee's career. He averaged nearly 50 yards per punt to lead the league and was named to his second Pro Bowl. In fact, McAfee performed so well that there was a point where he was subjected to a random drug test because the NFL thought he was cheating. So it was a very huge shock to many when he walked into the Colts owner's office in February of 2017 and told Jim Irsay that he was retiring from football. In his decision to retire at the age of 29 with 2 years left left on his contract, McAfee cited increasing pain in his right knee, as well as the prospect of more surgeries on his kicking knee. He had already had 3 surgeries on it in 4 years. He also felt that there was more to life than just kicking footballs, and he was in talks to begin working for a relatively new sports media group called Barstool Sports. Barstool had branded itself as something edgier than ESPN or Sports Illustrated, catering to a younger, hipper crowd of sports fans. Oh, by the way, Barstool, if you're looking for content creators, I have a portfolio of videos. People love my Dark Side of the NFL series. Make sure to check it out. You can find my info in the description down below. Now that we got that out of the way, let's continue into McAfee's foray into the world of podcasting and media. Because with Barstool Sports in early 2017, McAfee was named Chief Operations Officer of their Heartland division, which was headquartered in Indianapolis. He was also given his own radio show, The Pat McAfee Show, which aired on SiriusXM's Barstool Sports radio channel. The relationship with Barstool Sports didn't last long, however, because by August of 2018, McAfee and Barstool had parted ways. McAfee cited a lack of transparency in the business operations of Barstool Sports and had no specific issues with CEO Erica Nardini or founder Dave Portnoy. In the split, McAfee was able to keep the Pat McAfee Show IP and converted it into his own podcast. After his falling out with Barstool Sports, McAfee was quickly recruited by Fox Sports to do color commentary for both college and NFL football games. He made his television broadcasting debut on November 24, 2018, during a game between Baylor and Texas Tech. He was in the booth for an NFL game the very next month, working the December 30th Lions and Packers game. In what has become a pattern of behavior, he left Fox Sports for ESPN in 2019. ESPN sports reporter Adam Schefter broke the news via Twitter that McAfee would be joining their Thursday night college football broadcast booth alongside Matt Hasselbeck, his former teammate on the Indianapolis Colts. In 2019, he also became a regular contributor to ESPN College Game Day. Also in 2019, McAfee reintroduced his podcast, The Pat McAfee Show 2.0, with a partnership with Westwood One. But that wouldn't be it for the former punter, because in December of 2018, McAfee would sign a multi-year contract with World Wrestling Entertainment. He revealed the news on his podcast by saying, "Who knows what we're going to be doing over there? They just want me to come and make some content, and we'll see where it goes." Then, in April of 2019, his dream job almost went up in flames. A few hours before his WrestleMania broadcast debut, McAfee reported to the set in a white tuxedo with black dress pants shorts. McAfee has a fondness for jean shorts and was warned by WWE executives not to wear them for WrestleMania. His choice of wardrobe sent veteran WWE broadcaster Michael Cole into a fit of rage. Cole allegedly cursed out McAfee in front of several people backstage, including some high-profile WWE entertainers. McAfee walked away not happy about getting punked and yelled at like a child in front of everybody, and McAfee was stopped and asked to wait while Cole and a producer went to talk to none other than the godfather of wrestling, Vince McMahon himself. McMahon was shown a photo of LeBron James' short suit that he wore during the 2018 NBA Finals, which was similar to McAfee's look. A few minutes later, Cole came back to McAfee and gave him what McAfee called one of the realest apologies I've ever gotten in my life. He said that it's been a long week. McMahon apparently sided with McAfee in his choice of suits, calling it hip and saying that he loved it. Just a few months before signing his contract with the WWE in March of 2018, McAfee had been ringside for a NXT match in Indianapolis between Adam Cole and Aleister Black. McAfee interfered with the match, prevented Cole from winning, and allowed Black to win the match with his signature move called Black Mass. Fast forward to July of 2020, Cole was a guest on the Pat McAfee Show where he got heated with the host, resulting in a broken microphone and Cole walking out on the show. I'm going to leave a link to that moment in the description down below because it's definitely worth a watch. A few days later, McAfee had Triple H on his podcast, and Triple H invited McAfee to an August 5th episode of NXT to talk with Cole. He accepted, and it seemed that their friendship was renewed. However, later in the match, Cole began talking smack to McAfee at the announcer's table, which resulted in a melee between the men, and McAfee punting Cole's head like a football. After that, Triple H challenged McAfee to a match at NXT TakeOver, which McAfee accepted. So what's the future like for Pat McAfee? Well, It's extremely difficult to predict that, because in August, while the Adam Cole incident was going down, McAfee found time to get married to his longtime girlfriend. He has talked in the past of becoming a stand-up comedian, and his podcast is one of the top sports-themed podcasts in the country right now. And it looks as though he'll be getting into the wrestling ring with Triple H pretty soon, or possibly after this video has been made. Which may not be good for his health, but will be great for viewers. If McAfee's track record is any indication, he will find something new and creative to start working on soon. I guess we'll all have to stay tuned, but I'll tell you one thing. Nothing was more inspirational for me, a kid that was in dental school, that clearly was trying to do something that he was not good at, than to watch Pat McAfee give up on something that was certain, which is a job in the NFL kicking footballs, to pursue what was his passion, which was creating content. So I know for me personally, he's inspired me, and for that, I'd like to thank him personally. If you enjoy this brand new series where we shine a light on players' careers on and off the field, please make sure to leave a like. In the description down below is also a tweet to Pat McAfee so he could check out this video. If you guys want to go ahead and click on that link and favorite that tweet so it could get his attention, that would be awesome as well. Other than that, make sure to comment any other NFL players that you would like us to do a player biography on. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping the mic. Until next time.